Alright, hello, Mr. Wolver here, talking to you about how to identify a mineral. The first thing I recommend breaking things into is what's called luster. There are two main classifications of luster. One is metallic. It looks like a metal, a shiny metal. This is a picture of galena. I have one up front on the lab station. Other metallic lusters are silver, gold, any metally iron type of look to it would be considered metallic. Non-metallic, there's not obviously a lot of classifications non-metallic, but basically it doesn't look like a metal. Things that are glassy, dull, shiny, a bunch of different classifications of this. This is an example of quartz, and obviously quartz, as it says here, is glassy. So your two main things to always break up your minerals when you go to lab is if it is either metallic or non-metallic. A very important thing to consider. Color is not enough to identify a mineral. Good example of that is gold versus pyrite, which is better known as fool's gold. I've got a lot of fool's gold in my room that you could take a look at. Obviously, it's not going to be real gold. It'd be worth a ton of money. You get yourself in trouble if you just rely on color. This is an example of sulfur. This is a sulfur vent from a volcano. We'll study volcanoes later. I have a piece of sulfur in my room as well. Yeah, it's very bright yellow, but to make sure that it's sulfur, a prime example of what you would want to do is pick it up and smell it. And if you haven't smelled the piece of sulfur in my room, do it, and it will definitely tell you that it is indeed sulfur. Another property that you can use to help you break down what mineral you're looking at is hardness, and that's how easily a mineral can be scratched. On page 91 in your book is Mohs scale of hardness. It's very helpful. I recommend using it when you go to lab. 1 is the softest, 10 is the hardest. 10 would be a diamond. Common objects that you should know about, and they are listed on 91 as well, along with some other ones. Your fingernail is 2.5, so anything below 2.5 you can scratch with your fingernail. A piece of glass is 5.5, so anything below 5.5 you can scratch with a piece of glass. Or vice versa, if you have a mineral that's higher than 5.5, it will scratch the glass. And then the streak plate that I'll talk about here in a minute. Streak plates have a hardness of 7, so any mineral below 7 will obviously give you a streak. Another property is how the mineral breaks. It is said to either fracture or cleavage or fracture. Cleavage, it breaks in very smooth, flat surfaces. Again, take a look at examples, and I will pass them around in class. Mica, biotite is a great example of a mineral that has very flat, smooth edges. It breaks in these little thin sheets. Fracture, if you've ever broken a bone in your body, it's a break. And quartz is a good example of a mineral that just breaks. It doesn't break in any pattern, it just breaks. And that's the difference between fracture and cleavage. Alright, I'm going to show you how we go about making a streak on a streak plate. This is a streak plate, just a piece of tile. It's white, obviously. This is a piece of hematite. It's kind of a glittery looking mineral, and to do this you go ahead and you just scratch it right on the streak plate, and you're going to notice that it gives you a color. Sometimes it's not a bad idea to take your finger and wipe it right on there just to kind of see what color it is when you do so, but that is how you streak a mineral on a streak plate. A few other unique properties of minerals that you will see, they are on page 94. Magnetite's a very interesting one. It's magnetic. Calcite does two interesting things about it. It gives a double image if it's a clear piece of calcite. And another thing is if you put hydrochloric acid on it, it bubbles and fizzes with that acid. So has a chemical reaction when you put that acid on there. So these are just some properties that gives you a basic thing to start on. We will obviously dig deeper into this tomorrow in class, but hopefully you followed along and learned a little something. Have a good night.